Hi guys, we're making easy peppermint bark with 5 ingredients. I'll show you how to crush candy canes and cut parchment to fit in a square pan. Let's bake! We're going to prepare everything first so we can make our lives a little bit easier. So you can use 3 or 4 candy canes. I used 4 and I did have some left over, but I like to save that to use for other desserts. You want to unwrap the candy canes and put them in a Ziploc bag. With a rolling pin or a meat tenderizer, which was the closest tool that I had to me at the time, you can crush the candy canes, take out all of your holiday anger on the candy canes or holiday stress. Either way, I like to make the pieces pretty small because it's kind of a lot to have to chew on large pieces on your peppermint bark. Now for the parchment paper hack. I just like to eyeball how much paper to use. So I like to put the glass dish in the center just to make sure that there's enough paper around it so that it overhangs on the sides. Now this hack is not a perfect method, but it definitely helps to keep it into your dish and to just make sure that it gets into all of those 4 corners. You want to put the dish in the center and cut out the corners just like this, and you want to do this for the other 3 corners. And then after that, you want to fold the sides, and you want to make sure to fold each side and then put it back into the dish. And I just kind of like to fold it again in there just to make sure that it sits well. And then you can just set that aside. There are 2 ways to melt chocolate. The easiest is in the microwave. You want to melt it for 30-second increments on half power, stirring in between. Once it's melted, you can add the vegetable oil and the peppermint extract. Both of these are optional. The extract adds a more pepperminty flavor, and the oil makes the chocolate smooth and easier to spread. If you have it in your kitchen, I recommend using it because it really will help. You can also use peppermint oil, but just a tiny amount because it's way more concentrated. I have all of the measurements on my recipe card in my blog post, which is in the description box. Get the baking dish and pour in the melted chocolate. Use a knife, a rubber spatula, or I'm using an offset spatula here, and you're just going to want to smooth out the chocolate. You want to make sure to get it into all 4 of the corners. After you've smoothed it out, you want to put this first layer in the refrigerator to chill for 10 minutes. Longer than 10 minutes, and the white chocolate and semi-sweet chocolate won't set up properly. When you go to cut up the bark, the layers can separate, so you really want to keep it to just 10 minutes until it's just set. While that layer is chilling, we're going to melt the white chocolate. So way number 2 to melt chocolate is in a double boiler. I love this way because it's so smooth and evenly melted. You want to simmer 1 to 2 inches of water in your first pot and then add the second pot on top with the white chocolate. Keep stirring it so that it will melt nice and even. Then you want to take out the first layer, hopefully it's chilled and set, and then we're going to pour the white chocolate on top. I like to work a little bit quicker here because the warm white chocolate can start to melt the chocolate underneath. And a quick tip about the chocolate. Chocolate baking bars are the most delicious to use. You can use chocolate chips, but the best tasting are the chocolate bars. There's not many ingredients in this bark, so it's important to use good quality chocolate. Candy melts do not work for this recipe. They will not taste good because they are not real chocolate. They're great for a lot of other situations, but not for peppermint bark. I recommend using Ghirardelli, which is my favorite, or Baker's brand, or Goutard. Next, you want to sprinkle the crushed candy canes all around. And then we're going to chill the peppermint bark for 1 to 2 hours. If you're chilling longer than that, let it sit at room temperature for about 5 to 10 minutes, or it'll be super hard to break into pieces. Once it's chilled, you want to lift it out of the dish using the parchment paper overhang. And I'm also sorry for this shot of my elbow. I'm working in a small space, so I am just doing my best here. With a sharp knife, you want to cut it into pieces, or you could even use your hands. It can be a little bit hard, but I have done it with my hands. If you use a knife, just be careful because sometimes it's kind of hard to chop through that peppermint. You can cut it into squares or you can cut it on an angle. I tried doing both here. I like how either of them look. I like even if it's broken up and it doesn't really look perfect around the edges either. I think it just depends on what you're going for. This stuff makes great homemade gifts, or it's something really easy to bring to a party or just have out on the table. You can also add it to a dessert box or a hot cocoa board, which is something that I'm working on right now, and I hope to share that video soon. And just so that you guys know, we didn't temper the chocolate because we wanted to keep things really easy with this easy peppermint bark. So that means that the chocolate will get soft if it's left out all day and night. So I recommend storing this in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. Thank you all for watching. I hope this was helpful. Happy baking!